our lovely guest speaker, Bronwyn, also known as the head of the college, the principal. We'd like to, we'd talk a little bit about intuition development and where we began, what beginners struggle with, fears in particular. And I wanted to bring Bronwyn on here to tell us, before we begin, our conversation, could you tell us a little bit about your story? How did you get here? What got you into this industry? Like, where did you begin?
Hi. I don't feel like a guest, but I'm glad I was welcome like a guest. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. There's two parts to answer that. One is my experience, and then the other is how I got here. So as a child, and my earliest memories are from when I was around 7 years old, but I'm sure it happened prior to that. I just can't remember. I had experiences when my grandfather passed away to be able to still communicate with him, and I shared that with family. And that was not well received because I was a country girl in a religious family. And so this was something that they didn't appreciate. So as a young child, I was told to stop doing that and sharing what I was experiencing because this was upsetting and scaring people. So I did, and then I just navigated life, not really understanding who I was or what I was experiencing, and because there was no points of reference for that. And I didn't even know, I didn't even know what I was called. I hadn't even heard the word of a medium until I really arrived in the city. And it was not really until in my 40s that I had any kind of point of reference for what that was and how I related to that. But how I got to here and what I'm doing, I credit that always to my son. He is like me. And when he started to demonstrate those skills as a young person, I made a conscious choice to treat him differently and raise him differently to how I was raised. So he would stay connected to his abilities and not disassociate from any part of himself through that process, because that's what happened to me. So I wanted to ensure that this stayed still part of him. And that meant that I had to learn a whole lot of things as he grew into a young person. He had all kinds of experiences were different to mine. And so I didn't have points of reference. So I needed to learn how to be able to guide him through his childhood with the experiences that he was having. And that allowed me to gather all kinds of knowledge and grow and enhance my skills and really integrate who I was fully. And so that was a long, drawn-out process, 15 odd years that I did that. And through that evolution, I ended up finding myself here. And even within that, that's a massive story in the fact of me as a teacher, because that was never anything that I wanted to do, let alone did I want to read for strangers. That wasn't my plan. Because I had a great career in banking and finance and then businesses after that. So it was never anything that I wanted to do. But the universe has a whole different journey aligned and set out for me that it was nothing like I expected. So fast forward, now I teach, and I fought the universe on that for many years too, going, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then eventually I learned that I just had to surrender and do it. So it's a big story condensed as quickly as I can in that space.
Well, thank you for sharing. And
welcome too. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks, guys, as you're coming in. Send just comment below, give it a like, let us know that you're here so we're not two cuckoos talking together. Just kidding. But as you were talking, and I understand because when you're saying the feeling of resisting, because sometimes we think we know better, right?
Always.
Yeah. Always, yeah. I'll claim that, right? My friend Chris likes to say it's because I'm a day number 30, because he's a numerologist. So that's what he blames it on. But they hit you with a gentle nudge, a feather, a brick, and then, a bus or a truck, depending on how important it is that you get where you need to go. Right?
Yeah, I always seem to wait for the brick and the truck. I never operate on the feather. So my advice to anyone is always, if you get the feather of the nudge of something, definitely lean into that. Avoid the truck at all costs. And if you can dodge the brick, definitely dodge the brick there.
Yeah. Now, on that, right? So, before we get into fears, while we wait till a few more join us, what are some signs that you're getting touched by feathers? You know, your guides are giving you some signs, directions. What are some signs that they're trying to guide you in a gentle way? And then, you know, what would you say how it progresses from that point? You know, the brick, and then obviously the bus and truck, and then twice over.
Yeah, that's right. That's the way I roll. So I go through life sometimes a bit like kicking and screaming. I'll use the teaching reference because it's such a great, long, drawn-out reference without going through step by step. So the feathers for me in that space were my own teacher at the time telling me, you know, you're going to teach. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And constantly bringing it up all the time in practices, even when she was doing different kinds of readings. And you know, I had no inclination for that, but she'd be like, you're going to teach. And then she'd read my palms and she's like, oh, yeah, I can see that you're going to teach. And she'd like be translating the things on them. And she'd go, and this is what it's going to look like. And this is the amount of people you're going to help. And I'd be like, no way. And she was saying some ridiculous numbers. And there's no way I thought that that would be my truth. Fast forward, it is. So I'm very blessed that it is because I get to assist, you know, over 600 people a year connecting to their spiritual aspect of them. And that's without considering the amount of readings. So it's probably around, you know, over 1,000 people a year that I get to connect with in some way or another. So that's the feather. That's those gentle nudges. The bricks are when people are then asking me to do it. It's like when I've got people saying, can you show me how to connect to spirit? Can you teach me this? Can you teach me that? And I'm like, no. And I'd refer them elsewhere. It's like, go over here to these people. And I would do that. I did that for years and years. And the truck's like, no, we're taking everything out of your life, everything that you love. And they took everything that I held true to me. So it was like they took my friends, they took my community, they took my teacher, they took everything away and stripped me back to the core of me. And it's like, you've got nothing now, no excuses, now do it. They even took my business to a point. They started to take that. I'm like, oh my God. So definitely avoid the truck at all costs because they will strip you down to nothing. So that's what that looked like. And it was drawn out over many, like, as I said, probably over 10 years where I fought this.
Well,
so hi, come in. I can see people that have joined us. So I really love to know who's joined us. So come and say hi. So we can actually engage with you because whilst I love talking with Chanel and we can rabbit on, and we do sometimes rabbit on for hours, this is an engagement piece. So we actually want to connect with you while we're on here. The whole reason why we thought we'd come on today and the things that we would talk about, because we are trying to come on every Thursday to share our knowledge and teach in whatever way that we can. We thought that we'd talk about fears. Like, so when we're first starting, hi Victoria, when we're first starting our journey, like as beginners, and I'd love for you guys to kind of share your own journey here. What were some of the fears that you had when you're starting your spiritual journey? So I know that sometimes, from my experience as a child, I would stay in my grandmother's house, and it was an old family farm home. And there was all kinds of people without bodies that just kind of would loiter around and sometimes come into the bedroom. And I would, there were certain rooms that we wouldn't want to go into because we could feel the energy in there. As kids, we didn't really understand it. But that fear of seeing things. So I brought that as an adult, that fear into my connection, because I would see things when I was a child and it would scare me when I'm trying to go to sleep. And so as an adult, I'm like, I kind of don't want to be startled. I would have all these rules around if I was going to see dead people, that would have to be like on a Sunday in the afternoon when I've already asked for it and I'm sitting down ready with a book. Like, it was so many rules, it was ridiculous. And then I would wonder why it didn't happen. Right. So that's one of the fears that I used to have and that I brought through from childhood. How about you, Chanel?
Well, I think we joke around here, but I think you might be psychic, right? No, not to use joke, but it's true, because that was my experience when I was um, very young at my grandpa's place, maybe 6 or something, and I would remember laying in the lounge room trying to go to sleep. And I just had this, I couldn't see it, but I could just feel something staring at my face while I was trying to sleep. And I internally, I said to myself, it's okay. As long as I'm under the blanket, as long as every other part of me except my head is under the blanket, I'm safe. It can't get me, right? So that's what I did, right? And then, years later, I found out that everyone had an experience with something strange in that house, and it wasn't just me. But obviously, when you're older and more willing to open up and share, the terrifying stories, it comes out then. So yeah, that was my first experience. Well, the first experience that I remember.
Thanks for sharing. I just want to acknowledge some of the people here. So Dar, Maxine, Melissa, I think I've said so. Hi, and once again, if you are here, let us know that you're here. The interesting thing, when you reflect on that and you say the blanket thing, my brother still sleeps with the blankets over his head. He's got that habit, and I know someone else that also does that for exactly the same reason. Right? So it started as a child, and now they still have that behavior. The interesting thing is, like, even when I reflect on my child and as he went through his experience, and as I've worked with other people, things that we're scared of as a child is because we haven't had the support. We haven't got someone around us that has the knowledge to be able to explain what we're feeling. And so because we don't understand it and we're not supported, we think it's scary. But in my experience, those people that were visiting me as a child, they were connected to me. They weren't not connected. So most of the time when we have these experiences, there's someone that knows us or we know them or vice versa. There's a mutual bond, or they're part of the family, that heritage, and they're just coming to check on us a majority of the time. Not all the time, but a majority of the time. And so when we think about our fears, any fear that we have is going to create a block for us later. So if we've got some fears, whether they're still current or we're bringing them from childhood, when we bring them into this space, in a development space, they are going to be the things that we need to work through, because they will create a hindrance. As I said, mine did. When I wanted to be able to see spirit, I couldn't. And so it took a long time for me to be able to work on that. And so I can remove that block. So when you're thinking about other blocks that we can have in our development space, or things that can cause blocks for us, and once again, engage with us, guys, like what's coming up for you there, the blocks that you've either got or you're worked your way through already. What would be a block for you, Chanel, that you're like, that I've worked my way through? So let's we've got some results for it.
Good question. Well, for me, a big one was really believing that what I was experiencing was real, because I was very much in my head. Well, I still am, but I'm not as bad as I was. I was a person who lived in my head most of the time, right? So I would always, second guess, doubt, question on whether or not things that I was experiencing, were they real? Where was it coming from? Why? How? And how I got over that was, what did help me was I had to write down, because it's a big process of, I guess, trusting yourself in general, but trusting what I could see, feel, know really what really made a difference for me was when I would write down the things that I was picking up on, or I just had a feeling that would happen. And, readings too along that journey. Loved getting readings, right? And so those are some of the things where I would write down what I was feeling, or what might happen. And then somewhere along the way, either it would get confirmed over time, or somebody else would have a similar experience that I could confirm.
Fabulous. When I think of some blocks that I've had to work through, and there's many, like I've gone through this experience, not trusting, a skeptic, questioning everything. So I really used to get in my way through development. Surrender is not something that comes easy for me, right? And so because of that, it's been great because I've had to be able to work through all these things, right? And one of the things for me, once again, as an analytical, questioning minded person, right, much like you, my mind is a playground. So working my way through that, it was to understand where I begin and end. So in what I'm experiencing, so in that like when I have sensations in my body or hearing things, it's like so there was that block of, is this really me? Am I making this up? And so that created doubt. So anywhere where I had doubt, I had to really rely on my analytical mind to be able to really discern what I'm picking up. What's the likelihood that this is could just happen? There's coincidence, like if we believe in that, right? Seems to be a thing that people do. Believe in coincidences. It was like, is that something that is that a coincidence? What's the chances of that being a coincidence? Like in a mathematical way, because I come from banking, so it's all about numbers. And then to really be able to unpack that, and that unpacking, once I got to the space where I knew I couldn't work this out, there was no logical reason for things, that's then allowed me to really explore it and go, okay, there's something going on here. And through that process, once again, I do things really hard, right? I don't do things easy, right? Because I can't surrender, right? That was my thing. So through that, I'm like, what am I hearing in my head? Like, what is this? This is not me. I don't talk like this. I don't sound like this. I know I'm not losing my mind, right? And so I had to take a real analytical approach to it because of who I am. Not everyone can get to that surrender space really easily. And so if you're someone that can't get to the surrender space, and you've got when I describe this, it sounds like you're analytical, you question everything, you think things are coincidence, you're going to label it all these ways, then that's creating a block. And so it's like, how do you maneuver through that when you are that type of thinker? It's like you have to apply exactly how you think in a really strategic, analytical way to what you're experiencing, to the point where you've explored everything. You go, okay, there's no logical reason for these things, right? And it's that rinse and repeat through that process to remove the blocks, to go, okay, I know there's something's going on. I might not even fully understand what it is, but I have to accept it on a level. And so that's how I maneuvered through it. As I said, not easy. Like it's not an easy process sometimes.
No. And when you're saying that, right, one block for me, right, since we're talking about hearing, okay, when I started studying with you, right, and I did level 1, level 2, and level 3, but I started with Intuition Amplified. Now, when I came across the references for what hearing would feel like and would come across like, I remembered I would have these experiences when I was younger as well. So one reference is sometimes you might hear your name being called, or you might hear things out in the distance. And I remembered that I had that experience. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I had this fear, or this, what created a block, right? So this fear was about being crazy, right? So I didn't want, you hear about people that hear things, they need that, they're sectioned off from society, let's say, right? So that was my fear. And as I started to work through that that block, and, be okay, not have, it wasn't something that was as, let's say, in my face all the time, right? Because you have these fears which you hold on to. And as I started to work through that and, practice the exercises and things like that, it unlocked hearing for me. So now, where I originally started with just feeling and seeing spirit, I can hear them now also. So that was my experience with a hearing block.
Thanks for sharing. Hi, Helen and Rona. This is the interesting thing. After teaching so many people, like hundreds and hundreds of people, and reflecting on my own journey, as I said, I do things the hard way sometimes. Right? The one thing that comes up as a common theme, right, is that our blocks are linked to our psychology. So some are linked to experience 100% in regards to, we had an experience as a child or whatever, pulled the blankets over our head, that type of stuff. But a lot of them are linked to our psychology. So how we feel about trust. So how we even navigate life in a trusting way. If we don't trust ourselves, or we don't, and then in turn don't trust what we get, so our intuition, we're not trusting that, it'll mean that on some level, in your psychology as a person, there is issues with trust, right? And so when we work through it, some of our issues in the psychology and our belief system, it actually has a direct correlation to increasing our skills. So there's this big personal development space that improves skills. It's the same with self-doubt in that. So they go hand in hand, where we don't trust what we get and we doubt ourselves. And so therefore we don't share what we get. So once again, that comes back to the psychology and the things that we've experienced that shut us down or made our question how we show up, our decisions, things like this. So it's quite in depth when we consider the healing and the work that we need to do in that self-development space when we want to move through our blocks. The other thing that impacts blocks is also whatever kind of faith. So as I said, I was raised with faith. And I was raised, it was really awesome. Like I was raised with, because I was Catholic, I'm raised Catholic. And I love that because it's, this is the devil's work according to them. So it's like, wow, load that onto a small child and see what happens, that you're doing you connect to dead people and that's the devil's work, and tell that to a 7-year-old and let them navigate that as a burden through life. Impactful for sure. So understanding how religion and other belief systems can impact us in a block. So when we consider blocks, they show up in many ways: experience, psychology, belief systems that have been put onto us, faith, and the consequences of how we integrate faith into this space. Right? So there's a lot there when we're working through our blocks. And when I work with someone, whether it be in a group scenario or a one-to-one scenario, understanding the blocks that individuals have is critical to be able to maneuver them through their development. Because if we don't look at all their blocks, and it doesn't matter how many hacks I'm going to give them, all the experience that I have from all the teaching and readings, like it's still not going to get them exactly where they need to be if we don't deal with our blocks that show up in this space.
True.
If you were back being a beginner, right? So if that's where you were, right? What would be something that you would consider that as like, with all this wisdom that you have now about blocks, that you would go, okay, this is something that you need to do if you're starting your journey?
Well,
And
what
I'm
it
only
was
letting
for
you
me.
pick like one thing, like, because I know you're going to have a list.
Look, my biggest thing was letting my head get in the way of my intuition. And I think for anyone, and this particularly in this day and age, what is really important is for you to understand um, who are you when you don't have any, or not saying that you don't have any, but when you have minimal thoughts running around in your head, who are you? And get to know that person, right? Because then you can understand the difference between intuition, right, and your abilities, and what's you like what you were saying before, what is yours, right, and what's just a part of your ego reflecting back to you your fears and your judgment and your biases of all the all the beliefs and stories that you were brought up with.
Thanks for sharing. When I reflect on if I was starting over again a very, very, very long time ago, like if I was back there, right? Because I'm really quite old, apparently. Just
You're as young as you feel.
I don't feel old, but apparently I am. For me, it would be really practicing trusting my gut.
Yeah.
Right. Not, once again, that's that try not to second guess. So it'd be like whatever the thing is that's coming up for me in this gut feeling, to just jump towards it.
Yeah.
And then just keep doing that. Keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. Because the more that you do that, the more that you'll realize that it's not going to let you down. Your head is always going to lead you astray. But your gut, so your intuition, so heart and gut, those two things together help form the intuition. So those, that's to keep trusting, and it'll be a rinse and repeat of that. So then over time I would have a track record to know that, hey, this can be trusted, this not so much.
Unless you're deciding what to eat.
Still not so much.
Oh, come on.
As we sort of close up our time here, right, and knowing that sometimes when we're starting our journey, we have some fears, and one of our fears is often is like, I want to make sure I'm connecting to things that are positive, right? Because that's a really, when I talk to anyone that's starting their journey, that's something that comes up. I want to make sure that I'm connecting with something that's not evil, that's not lower frequency, call it what you like, because there's all kind of references that people use, and I want to connect with something that is positive. Right. So if someone was in that space and like, I want to lean into this, but I'm nervous about that, if I connect into something that I'm going to then have negative consequences for doing so, what would be something that you would say to someone, a practice or some wisdom in that space?
It's a good question. And like, there's a lot of layers to that, but my advice would be never, as much as you can try, never do anything when you're not in a good headspace. Never, yeah, there's a lot of different beliefs around that. You don't have to be afraid, because they're not as scary as we think they are and we make them out to be. You don't have to be afraid when you follow your heart, trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your guidance, calling your teams, calling your spirit guides, your higher self. There are, like I said, practical steps that you can take. I would recommend against doing anything on, alcohol, drugs, when you're in a low mood, and spiritually. Call in your spirit guides. These are your spiritual team. As Bronwyn says, they're your spiritual stalkers, right? And and set your intention as well, right? So your intention is it's half the process, really. If you intend to connect with your spirit guides who are positive and loving and uplifting and guiding, you'll be fine. So don't be afraid, or at least try and work on that fear. But know that if you're in doubt, call in your spirit guides, do your practical steps to keep your energy and your mood high, and you should be fine.
And I agree with all those things that you've said. Hey, Adriana, yeah, trusting your gut is a big one. It's easier said than done, right? So this is the way I like to explain it. I'm a simple girl, so I use really simple ways to explain things. Everything's energy. It's all frequency. And so when we think about that, almost like it's layers. I like to use the example of a radio. So we've got AM and FM bands there. If we consider that, let's just say that frequencies that we may label as negative, let's call them that they're on the AM band. Right? So that's where they are. Right? And that we're in the FM. So as long as, a bit like what you said, Chanel, so as long as you maintain your your energy, your mood, right, that's part of your frequency, maintain that as high as you can. That's going to keep you in the FM band. And those lower energies are in the AM. So you can't hear AM transmissions from your FM band, right? So if you maintain your energy and you keep it at a certain level, they can't get to you, right? Because they're in the AM space, right? But if you drop because you're sick, you're sad, depressed, as you said, drugs and alcohol lower your frequency, but your overall mood and well-being, that will drop you right into that AM band. Then you're more susceptible. That's one of the simplest things, is just to don't do any kind of connection. Don't pull yourself a card. Don't do a meditation. Don't do anything, because it all allows connection, unless you're feeling optimized. Right now, that's, we're not always going to have those days where we feel optimized, right? Because our emotions go up and down, right? So it's do your best in that space. Now, this is the layering piece that you spoke about, Chanel. So if you're not feeling great and I really should pull a card that's going to help me, right? Because that's what happens. Like sometimes we need to do that, or we need to meditate, so we feel different. Right? So in that space, that is when, without a doubt, I don't care if you know your spiritual team. I really don't give a damn. Like I was going to swear, but I'm trying to be good. Right? I really don't care. They know you. You're their job. So ask them, can you just come around and protect me? Keep away anything that I can't see, feel, or sense, because you can't. There's most of the things you have no idea what's going on, because you just don't have body and skills to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they do. So just delegate the responsibility to your spiritual team to protect you. So if I don't feel very good, but I need to pull a card because that's going to help me, or I need to do a meditation, can you make sure that you keep everything away from me that is not here of a high frequency away from me? If you don't invoke them and you don't ask them to help you, then they won't. But if you do, even if you don't know them, they will help you. Right. And then you said there's intention and all the other things. But realistically, call in your team, because they're going to do the job for you. Delegate everything, right? Truly, I do, right? Delegate as much as you can. And then, right, also only do connection work when your energy is as good as it can be. They're the two easy ways to maintain your protection, no matter whether you're a beginner or not. There's all other kinds of elaborate things to do, and there's a multitude of things to do. But let's keep it simple.
And stay indoors. Right, because if you're not exposed to people, you'll be fine. Be a hermit like the rest of us.
Didn't know where you were going with that at all. Goodness me. So if you don't realize, if you haven't met Chanel before, she is one of the teachers at the Psychic Mediumship College. She didn't put that on her name, just so I want you to know that that's who she is. And she helps those that are beginning their journey. So she's in that space. And we also have a community of like-minded people that all come together, and she also facilitates some of those sessions. So that is Chanel. And as she said at the start, I am the founder and the head teacher at the Psychic Mediumship College. And so that's who we are, if you weren't sure, if you haven't met us before. But I know a lot of people have. We like to come here every Thursday and share in a conversation manner things that we teach, things that we know, things that we have experienced. So we are hoping that on some level this adds value to your life. And if it does and you're watching this on replay, let us know with #replay. And if you love this type of thing and you want more of it, or you want certain topics and things like that, definitely let us know and we can cover that off too. There is a link in the comments for the college. So if you're wanting to learn more about how to enhance your spiritual journey, whether you're beginning or further along the track, by all means, connect with us at the college. Chanel, before we jump off and go and do our things, and you mentioned food, so I assume you must be hungry.
Either me or the cat.
Okay.
I'll assume it's probably the cat.
How would you like to end? What is one thing that you would like to share with someone that's watching this?
Oh, look. Tell you what, this year's been pretty crazy for everyone. But just know that it gets better. Right? It does get better. So if you're unsure of things, or you don't know which way to turn, or where to go, or how to tap into your intuition and things like that, just take some time for yourself. Go out in nature, touch grass, or a cat, right, if you got one. And look after yourselves.
Thanks, Chanel. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, that's right. If you're looking for spiritual development, by all means, there's lots of courses available on the college. The thing that I want to finish off with, and it's true, everything that Chanel said, it's a rough patch, right? And there is this shift of energy that we're going to notice that it changes over the next couple of months or so, which is nice, because it's been a rough last 18 months or so. Right? It really has. Right? It's like, soon we can come up and breathe. Yay. Right. But this is the thing too, like in that space, no matter what you are going through, right? And we're all going through different things, and everyone's going through something. So no matter what it is, remember this: nothing is consistent. Everything is changing. Energy is forever transmuting and turning into something else. And so know that if you are going through something that is really hard, that every day that you get through that, you are getting a day closer to where things pivot and change.
Yeah.
Know that you can surrender over your challenges to your team. Ask them for help. Doesn't matter what your relationship is with them. It makes no difference. Ask them for help. Be open to seeing the signs, no matter how subtle they are, in your world. And when you see them, acknowledge them, because the more that you acknowledge them, the more that you will see, and the snowball effect occurs there. This is a whilst can be a challenging time, it's also a really magical time, because within challenges, there is always great opportunity for growth, expansion, and awareness. And it comes with sitting with what we're experiencing and diving deep into that and going, what's coming up for me? What do I need to learn? What do I need to integrate? So in any challenging time is the most magical time for growth. And it's not always fun, let me tell you, but when we get to the other side of it, it's really profound. And in that elevation of our soul frequency, that then opens up a whole gateway for other things to happen for us. So that's what I want to close with. Hi, Vicky. So no, take what you want from that message that started as me and then shifted. Over there for a minute. Did you notice, Chanel? Yeah. So on that, guys, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us. We look forward to connecting with you again next Thursday. It'll probably be a little bit earlier. We're aiming to be on here between 5. That's our main goal. Sometimes 5:30, but in that space somewhere where we can have a conversation. And this is a conversation. So we always encourage you to connect with us and talk to us through this, so we can not just us two talking. We actually want to acknowledge you and talk to us, Cheryl.
Not just having fun.
Because we do love fun. All right. Thank you. Have an awesome evening, whatever you plan on doing. And I look forward to connecting with you in whatever way that looks like in the future. Bye.